Hi, my name's Matt Ogborn, and in this video I'm going to try and predict the future, which is going to be a bit of fun, and I'd really value your comments and views on this on the article at Last Drop of Ink. So before I go and try and predict the future, let's try and look at some of the things which are actually happening in commerce right now. So we have, unfortunately, that Steve Jobs has now passed away, but I actually feel this is just the beginning, the end of the beginning as far as Apple goes. They are not out of the market. They are so going to be in here somewhere in the e-commerce and commerce arena. Okay, we've got x-commerce, which is kicked off, so that's a combination of eBay, PayPal, and there are other acquisitions like Milo and Magento, and a collection of others too. So that's quite exciting and very interesting to watch. We also have a bit of a dark horse here, and this goes to one of my big predictions in a couple of moments. And I've got 10 predictions, so this is going to be quite funny actually. So the dark horse is Alibaba. Now, they are very, very curious for numerous different reasons. The biggest reason why they're very curious, because they've got cash to burn and they've been and bought 2 software products which launched to marketplaces. Now, if this company grows a brain and puts 2 and 2 together and ends up with 10, they're going to bring the Eastern world to the Western world, and that could make sparks fly. And again, this is underway right now. Okay, we also have Amazon. Now, Amazon it's just a complete brute. They've got such a long-standing history of commerce that we're not going to see the back of them. Okay, we're also something else as well is that I personally feel that there's a personal lust for funds in the general population. The population is growing older, and the younger generation are much smarter. They're much more empowered. Mobile devices, e-commerce, commerce in general, the way in which they use the internet, especially linking back to Apple with the touch interfaces, are going to really set some sparks flying, especially around with the older generation, where retirement funds are not as large or not what they expected. They're almost going to be forced into commerce of some form. We also have disjointed service providers. Now, what I mean by that, I'll be quite explicit, and this comes into one of predictions, is that what we'll find is companies like Eatsy and Just Eat, where they will deliver hot food to you within 30 minutes, 40 minutes, for a service fee of about £1, ports exceptionally well to retail. So think of, say, I'll save that one for in a minute. Okay. We also have the high street. Now, the high street at executive level are starting to grow a brain. What I mean by that is that what we're seeing, especially with eBay and not so currently with Amazon, is that what we're seeing is more and more high street retailers starting to leverage the marketplaces. eBay are up to I'm just checking my notes, up to over 100 well-known brands currently in the UK. The US, it's just been a launch there, so they're only just seeing the beginnings of this, and that will kick off big style. We've also got 2 other key background factors here. The first one is data usage. Now, I'm just checking my stats, so sorry if I'm taking my eyes off you. So global data traffic will increase by 26-fold between 2010 to 2015. Now, this is also combined with mobile handset usage, is that while people are locked into an 18 or 24-month contract, they're only just slowing the inevitable, which is consumers are going to become more empowered using mobile devices, whether that's an iPhone, an Android, or another device, or an iPad in there, and their lust for online content is just going to explode. Literally, the 26-fold is what's been estimated there, the sources on the actual article itself. But I actually think this is going to go much higher. But it's in our nature to communicate with each other. I'm doing that to you right now. People want to communicate with other people, so that's just going to blow out the world, blow out the water. So what are my predictions? My predictions are that 50% of all commerce transactions are going to be held online in some form or another. That could be mobile, that could be desktop, that could be another device which we haven't seen yet. Okay. Mobile, however, will dominate this. People who, again, if I just put my hand in my pocket, so people will use mobile devices to buy, and they will, as it becomes much easier for them, and as the networks get faster, and again, 4G will be out in 10 years time, so the speed of this device will just be absolutely insane, and the media content in there will be so rich, and also very local as well. So mobile will dominate. There's no way about this, and as a whole, 50% of all commerce will end up in an internet form. So that's my second, that's my first and second kind of joined together. Augmented reality will rock. This is not just generally commerce, this is a little bit further. So I'm quite a hardcore gamer. Again, this goes back to people want to communicate with people and play games together. So we'll be seeing some pretty damn cool augmented reality games which will come out on mobile devices. So I'm 100% sure of that. Gestures will become very commonplace. So if you take the Xbox Kinect, now think of a cut down version, so very again, this is just me with my imagination going. So we've got a mobile device, so the input will no longer be touch, it will be gestures. So if you can imagine an invisible network here, number one, the phone will recognise myself. The second piece to that is that I'll be able to gesture the device into taking some form of action. So gestures will be huge in the next 10 years. A bit of a shock horror, desktops and laptops will still exist, and they will still be as important as they are today. I need a desktop for the raw power. I don't feel, even with cloud computing in its current form, there isn't enough guts in this for the home environment or the professional environment. So there will still be, I'm sorry to say that mobile manufacturers, that there will still be a demand for larger, more powerful units in the home, and they will still be around, probably just not in the same amount of numbers, but they will still take up a fair old chunk of that 50% commerce prediction, which I've got in hash number 1. Okay. Now this is where it gets interesting, because I'm not predicting just one new marketplace, I'm suggesting there's going to be 2 new marketplaces, and the first one's going to come from that dark horse, Alibaba. If they can really leverage some of the assets which they've got ready, and maybe some others by acquisition, then if you take the Eastern world and the Western world and you put the Eastern world in front of it in a very easy manner, then I think Alibaba is going to be the dark horse in this one. Now there is another one, and this one does rely upon software providers growing a brain. Now I'm going to be quite explicit in here. So the likes of, say, eSeller Pro, Channel Advisor, Mercent, etc. What they've got is a massive access to an untapped resource of data and merchants. If these guys can work together in some shape or form and create their own marketplace, that's another dark horse in here for a marketplace, and that's my second marketplace prediction. Now, I did mention around the services and Justy and Justy and Eatsy, what they've got there is a model to deliver hot food locally within a local area. Now, I'm actually going to take this prediction even further. What I'm going to see is my partner, she's going to be shopping online on a mobile device. She's going to go, ooh, I like that dress, but I can't be bothered to drive down the road and get it. So say she's on the Matalan website, she goes, all right, and then she'll choose my size, and then she'll click there. She'll choose the time which she goes and orders, and then she'll choose that. And then within 30 to 40 minutes, that item will be on my doorstep. So high street retailers will still exist, but they'll be leveraging the mobile networks, the commerce in a different way, and speed is going to be their advantage. where I mentioned with Alibaba, from the eastern to the western world, that takes time for the product to get from here to here, whereas local high street retailers, they have the item in stock. If they can solve the delivery issue, and again, in 10 years' time, next day isn't going to be good enough. In the next 30 to 40 minutes, it will be, and that will be their major leverage point. Okay, again, we're seeing that already with food shopping, so you can book your window maybe for tomorrow, or in some cases in the afternoon for the same day. Okay, and this is the 10th one. The 10th one is there's going to be a revolt, and we're already seeing this in the commerce arena. So let's think about farmers markets, car boot sales, other specialist markets. People are going to revolt against e-commerce, and they are going to go to local commerce much more heavily. So if we take the farmers market, which you may or may not have in your city, we have one here in Bristol every other weekend. What we're going to see is a higher frequency of these events to happen, and that's going to be because people are going to revolt against the e-commerce model and come back to a physical commerce model where they meet people face to face and have a relationship with their supplier. Okay, so that's my 10 predictions for the future in 10 years' time. Let me know if I'm completely off. There's a comments box just below. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I hope you've enjoyed my 10 predictions for the future of commerce. Thank you. Bye-bye.